Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host for the Leaders Without podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest. My good friend Daniel he has such a rich uh, background of experiences that I'm absolutely blown away. I will have him talk himself about all of that, but just to give you guys an idea, professional football player, model, as well as now is full-fledged on entrepreneurship and launching his very own, very creative, very successful brand of fashion products. So we have quite a lot of things to cover. But first thing first, Daniel, it's an incredible pleasure to have you with us today, my friend.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Likewise, very appreciated to be here.
All right, awesome. So let's start first. We can have an entire series for 2 months just on you, each one on a specific aspect. But let's start first with a start. Who's Daniel? Tell us about you. What's your story? What's your background? All that.
There's a lot to talk about. So, thank you very much for this nice introduction, first of all, and also the opportunity to be here and share my story. I really appreciate it. So, in a nutshell, yeah, so I'm Daniel Timothy Caleb. I grew up in Switzerland. And since then, I've done various things. So things that would be relevant for today, I would say, is that I have experience as a professional football player. Started out when I was 4 years old. Played for roughly 20 years. Also was in Italy, in London, England. Played in the top leagues there. And after an injury, at a very young age, I really had to redirect my life because kind of when you start playing a football, so you don't plan to stop at 20 years old or whatever. So that was kind of a heavy cut for me, which I can go much more in depth maybe at a later point. But this turning point led me into my fashion career at the same time. And when I started out in fashion, I also worked as an HR manager in various international companies. So I can name a few, maybe PwC, E&Y, so kind of these corporate companies. And on the side, I was building like my career as a fashion model. And yeah, being passionate about fashion, I just continued like that until I found for myself that it is time to found my own luxury fashion brand, which I've done since a year now. So developed my own products. And yeah, so it was a very, very rich experience. And as Lorenzo said, so now I'm at the point where I'm kind of launching my big first public production run, I can say.
Wow. See, guys, I wasn't joking when I said he's got an amazing, amazing background. I don't know where to start, man. I don't know where to start. You definitely are the most interesting guy I've talked to in a long while. Let's start first with a thing that is very passionate, that we both extremely passionate, which is football.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, so you said you started playing well since you were born, basically with a ball. So, uh,
Exactly.
at what time did you decide to pursue? Because we all, especially when you go up in Europe or South America, a place like that, football is an integral part of our life because we grew up in places.
Mm,
I grew up in France, so it's even crazier for football.
mm.
So, at what age, what point did you realize that hey, you could have actually a future in football?
I would say the turning point was like at 15 years old, 14, 15. That was like my age of maturity, I would say, in the sense of where I could consciously make a decision actually about my future life, what I wanted, what I was passionate about, etc. So basically, I started out, as I said, at 4 years old. And this was like due to my mother, because I was like a very active kid. And they told me, okay, this guy needs to do something. He needs to run around, whatever. So this is how everything started. And then, but at 15 years old, like I have experienced enough in my life, so also school period, etc., where, and this is like not to make that up, guys, this is really the case. I really told myself at 15 years old that, hey, the way things are going, like in school and everything, and the perspective like my teachers were offering me for my future, I just couldn't take it. Like finishing your degree, having a job, working there for 40 years until retirement and just die. Like at 15 years old, I just knew, okay, this is not the path that I want to take for my life. And as I was playing football for at that time 10 years almost, and I was also appreciated by coaches, etc. I really told myself, okay, I will really set my mind on becoming a professional football player or soccer player for Americans, and yeah, really pursue that passion and really go and make it happen. And this is like where my conscious journey of like taking my future into my own hands and making things happen really started. So I would say at 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned you started at 4 years old. Don't you think starting at 4 years old is a bit too late?
It depends. It depends. Some
Yeah,
people,
just
yeah, I have friends. They started like when they came out, they had a
use all
football on
that.
their feet.
But
Exactly.
when you were playing, when you were a young kid playing for fun, what position did you like playing?
I think I was always like a striker. So
Mm.
I just love to score goals.
Who was your idol when growing up, or your role model as a player?
Thierry Henry,
Oh my
definitely.
God, Thierry
Yes,
Henry.
yes. This is like no, he was it. Like he's got the style, you know, because it's not just about playing football, but it is playing it with style, adding your personality to the game. And I think Henry, like he is it. Like I don't need to explain who he is, so it's clear.
I guess that was in the early 2000 when Thierry was killing it in England and Arsenal and all that. And the front
Exactly.
team, wow. I mean, you can't
Mm,
ask for any better role model. Oh yeah.
mm,
Okay. So you started playing first for fun, and then you decided, hey, you came to a point that said, I don't want to I don't want to pursue like the traditional path of school and then 40 years working as a job. So then
mm,
you did you go into a youth academy, like centre de formation, as we say in French,
mhm.
or did you? So tell us what happened at that time. What was your next stage from playing for just for fun as a young kid, as a teenager, until when you went into something that became more serious? Tell us about that.
Mm. That's actually funny because I started like in a like already at 4 years old, I started in a club that was a professional club already in the first division of Switzerland, so FC Zurich.
Oh wow.
And this is where everything started. I played there like yeah for 10 years roughly, like until I was 14 years old. And the funny thing is like when I actually decided to become serious about it, I got thrown out of the academy for like no obvious reason. So so it's always like that. So when you have like when you take a major decision, something happens, right? And that was the case for me. So I was like relegated to a, I don't know how you want to put it, but to a community league team kind of that. So without professional touch whatsoever. And that lasted for about, I would say, 2 to 3 years,
Oh wow.
where I was, where I, in my mind, was serious to become a professional football player, but I wasn't in a professional environment. So that took like a lot of resilience kind of because yeah, you are there. So with people like going out, going to the club, drinking and playing, like, I mean, we had people coming from the club to the game, like really that kind of an environment. And then yeah, I guess I was kind of caught by, I wouldn't say a scout, but someone that was like well versed into the field of football, that kind of caught an eye on me, and we started working together. And yeah, ultimately, this person became my agent, if you will.
Mm.
And I had, so that was at 16 years old, and I had the opportunity to present myself at professional clubs for trial. And I had a very touching experience at that point, because I was coming from a very low profile club and had the opportunity to train with FC Basel in Switzerland. So this is a club that plays in the Champions League, etc. So you have to imagine I was 16 years old, and I had a trial with their like second team,
No.
so on under 21. So it was like way above my age level. And we had a trial for a week there. Everything went very well, so it was very professional, and they had actually very specific tests, like for your speed or whatever. So everything was like on paper, so it's not just a feeling, okay, this is a good player or whatever, but you could actually measure these things. And I was amongst the top 3 players or something like that. And after that week, so I had a chat with the coach there, and he said, hey, you are literally one of the best players we had in such trials, but unfortunately we can't offer you a contract. And I was there like, okay, what's happening? And this guy told me, I can't give you further details, you have to talk to your agent. So I talked to my agent, and he couldn't tell me he couldn't tell me anything about it, and offered me to go on another trial in Germany. And
Wow.
before going there, I actually found out that my agent asked for too much money, like way too much. And this
Ah,
is why the deal didn't happen with FC Basel. So you have to imagine, like, I was like just devastated at this point, like 17 years
but
old. You
why
see
didn't
yourself.
why did the agent didn't I mean the agent, I mean, was, if I had an agent, I would
Mm.
have, it would so there was no communication. I mean, the agent didn't tell you how much I mean, that's ridiculous, man.
Just nothing. And you have to keep in mind that I was like a 16-year-old boy. I had no clue about the business side of
Oh yeah,
football.
for sure.
So I didn't question anyone. So everyone was like, yeah, you just trust them. So what else should you question? And before going to another trial to Germany, also a big club there, I actually found out what happened with my agent, and I dropped just everything. So I didn't want to go to another trial. I just dumped him right there. And yeah, so this is kind of how things ended for me in Switzerland. And at the same time, uh, I don't know, so crazy coincidences that happen in life. I met another guy like in the family. So you can say like an uncle, but like from third degree, something like that had some connections in football. And he offered me to go for a try to in Italy, like to Monza. This was the club at the time. I think they were in second division, Serie B.
Oh, 1 second, time.
And
Sorry,
yes.
there's some questions because so once you found out about that the agent actually screwed, I mean,
Mm,
didn't do the thing properly, so obviously you fired him. Was there a way for you to go back to the club in Switzerland and tell them, listen, I didn't know about that. The agent, let's
mhm.
do a deal, just me and you. I mean, me and the club directly. Did you try to contact them at that time or?
Definitely, definitely. So the problem there was it took me about a month to find out what happened with my agent. So I went back to the same club after a month roughly and talked to the same coach, and it was the same team. I mean, it was a month, so people knew me who I was, but there was no chance because they told me like they took some other players and it was so way complicated and I didn't had my spots there, so it was already taken.
So what happened? Okay, so what so you didn't go to the trial in Germany?
No, because the introduction
Or for
didn't
the agent?
happen
Okay.
exactly. So it was too early in the process.
Mm.
Mm.
So after that, okay, so it was a painful lesson, okay, and
Oh
after
yeah.
that, you went to Italy. Tell us what happened in Italy.
Exactly. So what happened in Italy? So like with the team in Switzerland, I had a trial directly with the team,
Mm.
like with the core team, right? And in Italy, it was different, which I didn't expect. So basically, it was a trial with 80 players from around Europe. So
Oh,
it was kind of a tryout. So we had like people from France, from Belgium, from everywhere. So you were just there, a bunch of guys, like 80 people, 80 players. And it was, I think, over a period of a week as well, or maybe 2 weeks. And like every day you would have trainings and you would have like games to play with people you don't even know, right? So this was kind of the setup. And then after a week after these trials, so every day they would like remove some players and the other players would kind of continue in their round. And after that tryout period, like I think it was a week, they kept two players, and I was amongst these two players. So
wow.
imagine from 80 players, two
Yeah.
players, and I had my spot for the professional, so for the first team at Monza. Yeah, and this was at 17 years old. Yeah.
Well, as they would say in the NBA, boy, you got game, bro. You definitely got game. Awesome. Okay. So, and
Yeah,
what club was it in Italy that you did the trial with?
that was Monza
Oh,
directly.
Monza. Okay. Oh,
It,
nice.
yeah, exactly. That was Monza. Yeah.
So you get so this time you were able to sign a deal with them.
So I signed a deal with them, yes, and I was also with the first team, so with the first squad, with the professional team. But due to my age, as I was a minor, I had to wait to actually play games and stuff because there were also some regulations that players from abroad didn't have like didn't have it so easy to just play as a minor. So there were some international FIFA rules whatsoever. So I had to actually wait before I could really play games, official games with the first team. Yeah, but I
How
was a professional already.
how old were you at that time?
17.
Oh, okay. So what the rule was you had to be 18 to play, and
Exactly. So it was like, yeah. So it was like 6 months before
oh
my
my
18th
God,
birthday, something like that. Yeah, yeah, I know.
you've been pacing yourself and just looking every day on the calendar for the birthday. Yeah. Oh wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
So during those 6 months, you just kept on training and played with the reserve team, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. So that was my life.
So how was the everyday routine, daily routine of work of living and playing in a professional club at the time? Monza was what and the Series C in Italy or Series B?
C1, exactly.
Okay, but still very high level.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh,
Hmm.
so what would you say was the toughest part of you, other than just the waiting game of actually being part of a professional football club abroad, away from family? Mind you, you didn't go across the world, but still, it's
Mm.
being away from family and all that. What was the most difficult part during that time?
I guess every new environment is tough because you have to adapt yourself. And I think with time you get used to it. But for me, it was the first time. I was 17 years old, the first time that I left my parents' house, lived abroad alone in a new country. I didn't know the culture, I didn't speak the language. I
Yeah,
had a how do you call it, like certain color of skin as well.
yeah.
So these were all things that played out in a way that made it very tough for me to be there actually. So daily life was a fight actually. So it wasn't just like a normal thing because I really had to adjust at so many levels, like even like what are you doing when you're not training? Like you go out, you go to buy stuff, you want to enjoy yourself, you don't speak the language, people are kind of looking strangely at you. So there were like many things like that. So even racism on and off the pitch that I also faced. And I was basically alone. So I didn't have like the support of family, etc. And yeah, so what also made it rough is that I really couldn't rely on my team colleagues,
Oh,
or even, yeah, so this was also something that very touched me at that point. Yeah.
so this just hold up that for a second because that's going to be part of a
Mm,
fascinating topic. But first, so you said you were 16, 17 when you went there. So obviously you left school
mm.
while you were there. Did you still continue and pursue your studies on the side, or did you completely stop your schooling?
So in terms of schooling, general schooling, I stopped. So it was like full-time professional. So I got also paid for it and everything. And at the beginning, I started with some Italian classes, but only for I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then exactly. So I didn't get the support for that. So I really had to learn the language of by myself, actually.
Wow. So
Mm.
you mentioned also that there was no support from the teammates, which can be understanding because it's a very competitive, cutthroat environment. But what about the management from the team? Were they there to help, especially the foreign players, or no?
No, it
No.
was the same. It was the same. I mean, I can share you an example. Like at 17 years old, you're not allowed to drive, right? So when going to the sports center, so lucky enough, I didn't live too far away from it. So like 20 minutes foot walk or something. So I had my colleagues driving by, they see me on the street, they look at me like that. I was like, hey, can you take me with you, right? So because they were driving, and
Mhm.
they just ignore you, and they go to the yeah to the training field. And
Wow.
like when you arrive there, like
You
in the
don't.
restroom, you look at these same people that ignored you, and they just act as if nothing happened. And I experienced that, like I could say, on a daily, if not on a weekly basis. So every week I had such experiences where you really just feel, hey, don't think you came here to make friends and came here as a young guy, black guy, as a stranger to take our spots, actually. So that it was a very
Uh,
hostile environment for me.
so
So
with these
competition at its best. Yeah.
were these people players from the same age group as you, or were these people maybe from the first team, the second team, all the guys?
No, this was like for the first team. So because like even if I didn't have the authorization to play, like I was fully integrated into the first team.
Mm.
So I was a first team player.
Wow.
So being 17 years old, I was the youngest kid there. So other people were like, I don't know, 25, 30, family fathers. So I really had to face these kind of men instead of a boy, the boy I was. Yeah.
I knew that football was very cutthroat, but I didn't expect it to be so inhuman and so. I mean, it's very sad if you see your colleagues, especially a young guy that just arrived in the country, driving by and just walking. Just tell him, come and join us. Just hop on the car. And wow, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
and you have to imagine, like I was carrying my luggage, right? So the
Yeah.
football bags, it wasn't like it was easy walk, but you had to carry your stuff. And yeah, so they just left you on the street, and you keep walking.
You ever had any chance to talk about that to them or the coach or the management to see if, I don't know, because that's something that it's good to have open communication. Say, guys, listen, we're on. Yes, we're competing against each other, but still, we're part of the same team. We're part of the same.
Mm,
It's kind of like a family. We help each other, so together we can become stronger. Because a team chemistry starts off the pitch. You know that very well. The team that
mhm,
really went
mhm,
or successful is because off the pitch, they're really like a bunch of friends. Even at the time off, they still go
mm,
to dinner, lunch, even family or even vacation together. There's this connection off the field.
mm,
And they didn't did it. I mean, that was, I think, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. That should have been something that's at the management level, the club, even the coach, that should have
mhm.
told the players that, hey guys, we need to, yes, we each competing, but we still have to form chemistry and help each other out. So did you have any
Mm,
chance to talk about them with that, or not at all?
well, if I remember how the environment was back then, so I had like I think the barrier, personal barrier, like with self-confidence and stuff, to just step up and actually yeah, protect myself just already based on the language. So I was speaking Italian, but not at a level where you can like get into a verbal argument with people and bringing like arguments to defend yourself. So I wasn't on that level, and people were only talking Italian, so it wouldn't matter if I would talk English, for example. So there was definitely that language barrier. And on the other hand, as I said, so it takes a lot of courage for a young guy to
Sure.
go up to like fathers and whatever
Yeah,
and
to
just
do
stand for
that. Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Did you?
And the first thing was like I didn't feel the support from the management as well. So it was really like
Mhm.
the the
How
the,
about
the
your agent?
survival of the fittest.
How about your agent? Was he able to maybe talk to the management or anything, or the agent was completely
This
leave me
this
alone?
this this Exactly. So I
Wow.
brought it up like with my agent, exactly, but as well. So I didn't get the support. Like it was like, hey, my friend, this is the football world and deal with it. This was basically his summarized answer. So pretty much I knew that I was by myself. So after some time, I stopped talking and I really developed my inner strength or whatever you wanted to call it just to deal with it.
You know, one thing that we see from all the players, especially when we watch the players in documentaries, one of the key point they always emphasize is when they were young and starting, there was always someone more experienced, older in the group that would help them, protect them, bring them, and guide them. Was there any such, I wouldn't say father figure, but a more like a older brother type of thing, guy in the dressing room that was here just to help the younger guys, especially you're a black guy in Italy. Was there a more established black guy that was there to help other young guys, even not just black guy, even a more established, more mature, more
Mm.
intelligent guy to come and help, ease the integration of the younger guys? Was there any player like that in the team or no?
Unfortunately not,
Oh, what?
because this guy that could have had this role was playing as a striker as well. So why would you help the
So
guy that could
yeah.
take your position, right? So it doesn't make sense. Yeah,
Wow. So how long did that last? This entire, I guess you could call it like almost like a nightmare. How long did that last?
1.5 years to 2 years, if I remember it correctly.
So
Mhm.
once you actually turned 18 or able to actually play, did you get a fair chance to actually play by the coach? The coach gave you a chance, or the coach also was more like siding with the Italian players?
Yeah, he was siding with the Italian players, but I don't think it was like just a national thing because they kind of had a mindset at that time where they would just bring on new players because they didn't have the confidence in the players they already had. So it was about bringing players from abroad, from top leagues. I mean, we were in the season where they just fell from the Serie B. So they tried to take on older guys, more experienced guys from either Serie B or Serie A. So it
Wow.
was tough for us guys from the C1 league to play there.
So how many actual did you start any game there, or you were not given a chance?
I wasn't given a chance with the pros.
Mm. So you
I
didn't play
wasn't.
at all.
It's a shame to say, but I'm keeping it honest. Yeah,
So
unfortunately not.
perfect. So what did you after that? Did you stay there? Did you go to another club, or were you sent on loan, or were you just went to another club?
So basically, when I signed my contract there at 18 years old, I signed a 3-year contract, professional contract. And after, I think, 1 year, I left the club And the reason why I left the club at the end was I got injured in training on purpose by another guy. Like really, it was so obvious. And I was left on the ground. I don't know if you guys can picture that. Like someone comes, kicks you in the knee, and it is obvious because I wasn't like with the ball on the foot, right? So
Wow.
no points to attack, but it was so obvious. I fell to the ground. My coach didn't come, not my colleagues did come, and I had to walk off the pitch injured by myself. And I went to our team doctor, and we find out that I had a fracture of my meniscus.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that's where I decided to get myself a surgery like in Switzerland. And this is where I got back to Switzerland to get the medical treatments, etc., etc. And that's also where I decided that I didn't want to go back to Italy to play. And this is where I found a solution to resignate from my contract. So we found an agreement there, and that's why I changed the club and went to London to play there.
Okay, so now so Italian chapter is closed. Now the English chapter starts. So tell us about now the English part. Which club did you go to?
So I started at the club. I think it was in the first division, Catering Town, before going to Charleton, which is in London actually. And they were in championship, I think, at that time.
So did you have to go through trials again, or you were signed straight up?
No, I was signed. I was signed. So
Okay.
even though that was kind of lucky for me, that I got signed instantly. And the problem there was like it. I mean, I loved England. I loved London. I have to say, like even the weather and stuff. So also their style of playing football is
Suited.
different to Italy. Yeah, so it is very athletic, and I love like that athleticism. And
For those, sorry, for those that don't know you, how tall are you again? Because you're pretty tall, eh?
190.
And okay, wow. So basically,
Mm.
just like a chair, like a
6 foot, 6'3", I think it is.
super fast, both feet, just like your idol Thierry Henry, now playing in England, plays
Yes.
much more, suited to your style. And
Mm.
and were the people much more helpful in England compared to Italy? Oh, not sorry, not England, but that club compared to Monza.
Yes, they were. Like it still wasn't like that support, that ideal support, I would say, but I felt much more comfortable. And like with the experiences I had in Italy, I felt like I was ready for any environment.
Okay.
So anything better would be like a blessing for me. That's the way I saw it. The problem, I would say, in England was that I had problems with my knee still.
Mm.
So I went back with my injury. So I went back to the pitch to play in England. And like in training, I was like running for myself, so without external intervention. And I just fell to the ground because my knee had the same problem again. But this time, nobody touched me. So I went to Switzerland again, got another surgery, took me more time to recover from the surgery this time, went back to England to my club, and the exact same thing happened. So I was just running in training, fell down for the first time, went back to Switzerland for the first time, and this time, you won't believe it, but the doctors actually told me the truth that they did two mistakes in the first two surgeries when
Okay.
they were operating me. And this is why I kept having these same problems. And I was 20 years old at that time. And so I was in the doctor's office, and he just told me bluntly like that, all right, Daniel, I think now you have to either finish your education or find yourself a job. And he was laughing. And I
Oh,
don't know, I don't even know what to tell you. I was in the room with my father at the time, and like I was just, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't even, yeah, I can't even explain how I felt. And this is where like I really I questioned everything about my life, like everything myself, who I am, what I should do. Like
I
it
mean,
was a very devastating experience.
I can imagine the worst thing in all of that was the fact that doctors telling you with a straight face that, hey, we made a mistake not once, but twice.
Yeah, and what I forgot to share is
Wow.
like he put me in front of of two options. Like I could get a surgery for the third time, but this time after the surgery, I would have to wait an entire year before I could even start recovering with training.
Wow.
Or if I don't get a surgery, so my problem will persist and I would have to end my career. And given the fact that they did two mistakes already, I just told myself, hey, no, I'm not going to lay down there for a third time, and we just forget about that.
No, of
Yeah.
course
So
not.
this is how the
Wow.
entire football chapter ended.
Well, it's just as we say, there's one door that closes, three more open, you know?
Mm,
So, wow, that must have been quite painful because you were just about, you were almost on the verge of touching your dream and you were getting close, but something was,
mhm,
first it was
mhm.
the treatment in Italy and complete lack of professionalism. And then the second time, and the hostility. And now this, the doctor's incompetence. Did you even think of maybe suing the doctors or anything? Or
As I said, like I think I was just probably too devastated at that time to even think about such things, and also too inexperienced, I think, to even think of these options. And
or
my parents also didn't have had kind of that experience to like proceed with these kind of options, so we basically just left it at that. Yeah.
let's go back a little bit further in time. When growing up, did you have any people in your family that were professional football players? Do you have any influence from them? Was it something that you just wanted to do yourself because you just love football?
It was a really personal thing because I don't have anyone in my family that played football before me,
Mm.
or not that I would be aware of at least. So it was a personal decision. Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow, okay. And then after that, once the football chapter was closed, what happened next?
Yeah, good question. So as I said, like I questioned my entire life, my existence basically, because as I said, as an introduction, so you don't plan to fail when you are a professional sportsman, because like the time is short already, right? I
Yeah,
mean, your career stops at 35, something like that. So you expect to play till the end. So you don't have a plan B. This is what I'm trying to say. So when
actually,
that yeah, exactly. So when that only plan got destroyed, so you are left with nothing. So what I did is I took like some time off. I would say it was like 1 year and a half, where I went to Australia,
okay.
and like I really just literally it was the perfect place because you go to the end of the world basically when you're coming from Europe, where you
Get away
don't
from
know
everything.
anyone exactly. So just hide away, get away from everyone. And this is really the time I took for myself to really evaluate myself, who I am, besides of being a professional football player. Who am I? So what am I capable to do? And this is where I kind of tried to find the answers to these kind of questions, what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, basically.
So we went to Australia, and then what did you do there? Did you return back to school? Did you pursue other passions? What did you do in Australia?
In Australia, it was like a beautiful time, but also a rough time at the same time, because you're just there and you have no idea who you are, what to do. So it was like, I think, a period of trial and error. So I tried to play football for a local club, for example, just for fun, to do something and change your ideas. And it was kind of fun. And after some time, I felt kind of some pain in my knee as well. So I couldn't kind of pursue that to the end. So basically, I was just there, and yeah, I wouldn't say in holiday mood, but more or less it was like that. So like a nomad, you're just there traveling, visiting different cities, attending different events, getting to know people. And I mean, that was basically it. But at the same time, as I said, it was very interesting and these different interactions. So it was like you are having these conversations with people that you don't know, like they have another perspective on life. And this really helped me to go down the right path for myself as well. So basically, it was like gathering different perspectives and insights to build a new identity for myself.
Awesome. Where in Australia did you go to? Which city were you based?
I started out in Melbourne, stayed there for some time. Then I kind of went up the coast, stayed in Sydney for some time, went also further up to Byron Bay. This is like a place that I stayed the most, I would say. And at the end of the day, I fell in love with Sydney and went back down to Sydney. Yeah, so this is where I spent most of the time.
So when you went to Australia, did you have any friends, family, or people you know? You went completely in the dark and complete adventure mode.
More or less, yeah, it was completely in the dark, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That. Why did you pick Australia and not another country like say Brazil or China or something like that?
It was a suggestion from a friend that has been there, and I was just told that it was the most beautiful country she was in, and I trusted that. Like, I mean, I bought some books, some tourist books, and I saw the pictures with the beaches and everything, a sunny country. I said, like, if it really looks like that, yeah, I have to go there and see that for myself. So that's what got me there. And also, like, it is English speaking, which helps. And as I said, so it was far enough away for me to clear my mind.
Yeah, plus it's beautiful, the people are friendly and all that, the weather is warm. Always the biggest challenge in Australia.
Not to lose my mind. I think it wasn't even about the environment or people there. Like, I mean, Australia is beautiful. I love the culture, I love the people, but the struggle was really internal. It was personal because, as I told you, like, for myself, like, basically my entire life. I mean, I started football at 4. So for my entire life, I had more or less a clear idea of what I wanted to do. And like, from one instance to another, you have just no idea. And my personal identity was based on a professional athlete, and this part just fell off, and I didn't have the time to actually reflect on what could I be else. So it was like the toughest time was really to not lose my mind in the process of reinventing myself.
Sure. At what level did you stop your studies?
Um, that was, I don't know if you know that system, but in Switzerland you have a system where you have an apprenticeship.
So in terms of
So
the high
you
school,
you, you
the
so you come out of school, and instead of going to college, you have the opportunity to do an internship at a company. But
okay.
it's like a fixed thing in Switzerland, and an integral part of education in Switzerland, where you have like a training for 3 years, something like that, at the company, and then at the end you have a professional degree.
So during this time that you were after the football chapter was closed and you were in Australia, did at any time consider going back to studies or go to university, or that was completely not an option for you, at least in your mind?
I had to because at some point I was kind of running out of money as well.
Yeah.
And it was a funny story because like the visa regulations at that time changed in Australia. So this was my primary reason why I had to leave Australia, because I think I would be there to this day if this wouldn't have happened. So basically, I had the luck that I was still a professional athlete at that time, and Australia was looking for these skilled people to bring them into the country. So
Mm.
with that, I had the luck to get such a visa. And after some time, so there was some changes in the government, and then they canceled like 50% of these
Oh,
visas, and it touched me as well. And I was left like with 90 days to leave the country before I would get sued or whatever would have happened. So I was kind of forced to leave Australia, and I went back to Switzerland, and that's where I kind of finished that traineeship at the company to have my degrees and everything.
good.
And yeah, so this is how I transitioned then to that corporate world where I mentioned that I was an HR manager, so
Mhm.
working in HR. Exactly.
So then after that, you also mentioned that you got involved into the world of modeling and fashion. How did that
Mhm.
happen?
So how did that happen? I think, yeah, it's funny because some things developed during my time when I was in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in Italy, like football, fashion, this is like one world, right?
Right.
So exactly, so like family, and like being 190 in height, I think I just maybe like yeah was like in the eyes of these fashion brands, etc., etc., and I was kind of approached several times, but I
Mhm.
wasn't a fashion model at that time because I didn't have time with football. But this is something that I kept in mind. And when I went back to Switzerland after Australia, so this was something that my friends always would bring up, or also strangers, like you would walk on the streets and they would ask you, hey, are you a model? Are you a model? These kind of things.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so this is kind of where I ask myself, hey, why are people like thinking that I'm a model? Until I decided, okay, let me try it out. Since I love fashion anyway, so why not? So I um, I went to different model agencies in Zurich, Switzerland, and soon enough, yeah, so I was hired by an agency, and this is kind of how this more fashion model story started.
Nice. So then you started doing what? You started working as influencers, ambassador for these brands, I guess.
So basically, I had a contract with a fashion agency, and this agency was working with different brands. And I mean, you could have been hired for literally anything, like for magazine shots, for product launches, for catwalks, for like you name it. And yeah, so these were kind of different projects I was also hired for. So for different brands.
So did you okay, you had a taste of the professional world of football. Now you're entering the world of fashion. What kind of
Mhm.
similarities did you notice between the two worlds? Because you said, especially in Italy, they're very intertwined. So what kind of similarities did you notice between the world of fashion and professional football?
Um, I think it's true for any field, but like in this type of field, you really have to be comfortable in your own skin, even if it is difficult for most, because you are always exposed in the public. Like everything you do, everything you say, everything, whatever, like it is just exposed, and you really have to be aware of that. Like even in your daily life, like as a professional football player in Italy, for example,
Sure.
you couldn't just go out and buy something. I mean, you can, but there's always like this hidden camera following you of people, and you could find yourself in the newspapers or whatever. So this is something that that was very similar. So you really have to keep that in mind.
Wow. So you had basically no, it was difficult to have a personal, private life and just enjoy going for a coffee or a lunch or even going to a restaurant, even going to a nightclub, especially as a young guy, always on the scrutiny of the cameras, the slightest false pass,
Exactly,
to be all
exactly.
over the papers the next morning. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you notice in the world of fashion the same kind of hostility from the more established models versus the younger guy coming in that you experienced at Monza? Or was more relaxed, more chill?
It was more or less the same.
Oh wow.
I think it would. I think I would say it was the same, but based on my experience and the inner strength I have developed, it didn't feel that intense. But I
Good.
think if I would have started there, I think it would have felt the same way. Yeah, and so it's just like so much favoritism, right? Because how do you actually determine which person or which model should work for this or that brand? You don't have like an analytical reason to prefer a person above the other. So all is personal preference. And with that in mind, so there's a lot of competition, a lot of selling, a lot of networking, a lot of connections, a lot of this and that. So just to say that having genuine friends is very difficult because everything is based on, yeah, everything is based on that the personal connection. So
So it's a world full of superficialities and fakeness and all fake smile in front of you, but behind you is just like daggers and daggers, you know?
exactly, exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
Man, see, I wasn't lying when I said I wasn't sorry, not lying. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that this guy is probably the most interesting. I mean, you've been blessed to have an amazing life so far, and I hope you will have even 10 times more interesting experiences, which I'm sure you will because you're onto something even bigger now, which we'll get in a
Thank
moment.
you very much.
So, what did you say if you look at both the football world that you experienced and the world of fashion? What was the biggest lesson that you learned from both of them that is now really helping you to go into the next step in the next stage of your life?
That's a brilliant question, and I have asked that question myself a lot of times as well. And I would say for football, considering the context I was in, what this situation really taught me was to be flexible
Hmm.
and be adaptable to new situations, new environments, if you speak the language or not, to a new culture. So this kept my mind flexible, my personality flexible, and I think I can handle a lot of different situations and adapt instantly, almost, because I was like I was thrown in such situations a lot of times. So this is also helping me today greatly in business because like business, you can have a plan, but this plan changes, clients change, the environment changes. So you have to be adaptable, you have to change. And I think this is an asset that I strongly developed during my time as a football player.
Awesome. And I guess also you developed a very thick skin to be able to handle everything. Now it just rolls off your back. Okay, next.
I was forced.
So when you were starting and going into football, were your parents supportive of you going into football, especially when you faced the decision that you had to leave school? Because for parents, it's most parents are really for them, especially for teenagers. Because I went through that myself. I wanted to be a football player, and I
Mm.
faced with a choice that I had to leave school. So when you face that decision, either school or football, were your parents supportive of that, or they were kind of be careful? No, I don't want to do that. What was the situation back then?
I would say mixed feelings.
Mhm.
Like at the beginning, like when you see your son, I guess he's passionate about something, he's giving himself at it. At the beginning, like you have that, I think, parental feeling where you just say, hey, great, he's doing something. And when you see that he's actually becoming serious about it, that's when you kind of change your attitude as well. And this was true for my parents because, as I said, so I made that decision when I didn't have finished all my education yet. And so like being cautious about that, and yeah, exactly, you can get injured and everything can end, which actually happened at the end. My parents were just careful as well. And yeah, so we definitely had some heavy, serious discussions at that time. But I guess like you can see it as a strength or not, but I was like just headed my way and I was so convinced that I should do this. And I just did. And I
So
just did. So
which one of your parents were the most supportive for you to go to pursue your footballing dreams? Is that more your father and your mother trying to tell you, okay, I want it's good to do one football, but you also have to be to continue your studies. Whether your father more towards you pursuing your dreams and your mother more towards the school, was it vice versa? Or were they more the same or
I have to say both were quite defensive. So I didn't have that parent part that was like, okay, go for it, my son. But my I would say my mother was like, she had that mother heart, right? And mother wants to see their sons happy. So she could see my passion. So I think with one side, she was like, I wish really everything works out well. But on the surface, she was just telling me that no, I should finish my education and stuff. And with my father, it was very special and funny because he was like very strict and no, finish your education. But once I signed my professional contract, he was like my biggest fan. You have no idea. Like
somebody
talking to
else?
me about with his friends and have you seen my son? And so
I
quite
can
cute.
imagine. Was your father a football fan?
Yes.
Okay, of course. So now, let's say some magic. I were able to give you a time machine
Mhm.
and you could go back to when you were 16, 17, starting as a football player. What one advice would you give yourself when you were 16, 17, and just starting your footballing journey?
Good question. It's a very difficult question for me to answer because
Looking at
I
all the things you learned, all the experience that now you have, you're
mhm,
more mature, more experienced, stronger as a person, wiser. What would be the number one advice you would give to yourself
mm,
if you could go
mm,
back in time to when you were starting and when we're going through this very hostile experience at Monza, for example?
mm. Yeah, I think I have an answer. It's difficult because I don't regret anything that happened. But at the same time, I would say to be less emotional about my decisions.
Mm,
Like to not let the surroundings affect my decision making.
mm,
Like I'm not talking about not taking or making intuitive decisions, but decisions based on emotions that were stirred up by either your surroundings, other people, circumstances, etc. Why do I say that? Because um, I had the chance actually to go for a trial after my Basel experience to Germany. And
mm.
that team would have been Dortmund.
Oh,
So
wow.
Borussia Dortmund, exactly. That's the
So
problem.
what year was
So
that?
I was so emotional at that time when I found out what happened with my agent that I just decided to cut off with him. And
Damn.
now with experience, I'll say that, okay, yes, what the agent did wasn't good at all, but would I have been less emotional? I could have gone to the tryouts, signed the contract, and dumped my agent then. This is what I would have done today. So that's why I'm saying, yeah,
What year was that you could have gone for a trial at the mighty Borussia Dortmund?
it was, I think it was in the year 2011.
So Klopp
So
was there
almost
when Dortmund was starting to build
Klopp was there. Klopp was there,
an amazing
exactly.
team that went on to win everything in Germany and almost won the Champions League, beating Real Madrid 4-0. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Playing, I mean, training with Lewandowski, Rouse, all those guys.
Exactly. And he loves young he
Oh,
loves
yeah.
young players. So yeah,
And
so
he would have been the
this is
perfect
why I'm
coach for you.
saying,
He would have been a perfect coach.
yeah, he would have been perfect. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't have regrets, but if
Mm.
I would have could change something, it would have been this one. Like, to let my emotions sit and sometimes go through the pain consciously, even when you know you have been screwed, just because there is like a greater purpose at the
The
end.
bigger picture, yes, yes, yes.
Exactly, exactly.
That's a tremendous tip, that's for sure. Wow. Maybe on the next lifetime, if you face the same scenario, you know now you know what to do. Huh?
Exactly.
Imagine if you had gone to Dortmund. Maybe I'm sure you would have done well because in every trial, from what you said, you've done very well. Maybe you would have had a chance of, you know. And I think I feel another key point in your life so far has been the freaking you know, doctors, the surgeons screwing up your knees, because that's massive.
Wasn't easy, wasn't easy.
Wow. Oh my God. I hope. Well. Anyways, everything. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. You learned tremendous,
Mm,
valuable lessons from them that will, you know, that they look at. I look at things as a stepping stone for the next. You know. So even though it
mhm,
might have seemed
mhm,
extremely painful, you wanted to kill the doctor, kill the agent on the spur of the moment. So you had to
mm.
step down and I mean step up, step back, and soak up the lesson. So now football chapter closed, but you learned tremendously from it. Same for the fashion. Oh, speaking of the fashion, for anyone considering to go into the fashion world as I say young 18, 20 year old guy or girl, what would be the number one piece of advice you would give them
One piece of advice.
that you wish someone had told you when you were entering into the world of fashion?
You really have to be passionate. You really you just need to want it like with all your heart. It's so important because like there are so many things that can happen to throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't stick to something that you're convinced about, you won't accomplish anything in life. And so
Sure.
the grass, as you're saying, is not greener on the other side, but it's green where you're watering it. So if you're really passionate about fashion, great. Just go into it consciously and be ready to pay the price.
Yes, everything has a price to pay. Sure.
Mm,
So now, okay, fashion is so the world of modeling for you, at least at this time, maybe not closed definitely, but at least you put it on hold for now. So what's after that? What happened next? I believe that's when you decided to go into entrepreneurship and
mhm.
launch your own line of fashion. Tell us about that. How did that from the start? How did that happen?
Yeah, so when I was a fashion model, I mean, I was at the beginning. I mean, I had some cool projects and stuff, but I couldn't live from it, right? So it wouldn't cover all my bills. So I was working in the corporate world in the HR department at the same time. And yeah, thinking back at the decision I made when I was 15 years old, I wouldn't see myself working in such a corporate environment until retirement. I really told myself, hey, I need to do something else. And this is where the path to entrepreneurship started. I mean, I have taken several courses, self-development, read books and whatnot. And at the same time, I was feeling a growing frustration within the fashion world because I couldn't identify myself with these different brands anymore. Like as we were discussing before, everything was superficial. it was just about numbers. It was just about like they were treating people like objects. And this is just an environment that I couldn't take anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I experienced that already in football. So I told myself, okay, this is also not what I want to do until I'm 60. So let's find something else. And this is where I transitioned to entrepreneurship. And it took me some time to really decide that I wanted to launch my own brand, because it was also kind of a trial and error phase where you just try out a bunch of things. Because at the beginning, it was before all about personal freedom first, before establishing something like with a higher purpose attached to it. It was first of all getting out of the rat race.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried out things like consulting, writing a book. Like I tried out
Oh,
some different things, and at the end of the day, talking about passion. So it was fashion. So I'm really in love with fashion, and I told myself, okay, I love fashion, but if I wouldn't want to work for other brands anymore, what can I do? So yeah, you launch your own brand. And this is how my entire journey started. And it really took off, like I would say a year ago, where I also like joined the community of founders that would kind of provide, I would say, a guideline to how you can start your or found your own brand. And yeah, this is the journey I've been for the past year, and it was like a very, very rich journey.
okay. What community are you referring to? For the people that do not know.
That was the Enter China community,
Okay.
which are helping founders to found their own brands.
And what has been your experience with them so far?
I pretty much enjoyed it. I think for myself, what helped me was like to be in a fixed process, like step-by-step process to get your ideas to paper, and also like having someone to hold you accountable kind of to execute on your ideas. Because I think for the most part, when you're launching something or when you want to materialize an idea, not having accountability, it's kind of tough to really execute and stick to a plan, right? So having a community in your back really helps you to finish a project.
Sure. So tell us more about your brand and all that.
So basically, as I said, so I couldn't identify myself with other brands because it was just about luxury, spending money. And for myself, they didn't really provide like value, like tangible value for people. It's just like you spend money for the brand. And what I'm passionate about, or what I found important, is how can I best put it? Like, it's really about people finding themselves, or people like expressing who they really are. And I'm referring also back to my experience that I had in Australia, where I really had to reinvent myself, which like is the basis for everything that I'm doing today. And I think like many times when you're like stuck in a corporate environment or in a job or whatever, you don't have the time to reflect on these things, what you really want to do. So I wanted my fashion brand to really express that and help people to ask themselves these deeper questions, becoming themselves, discovering their gifts, their natural gifts, encouraging them, empowering them to express them, and becoming themselves in the process. And at the end of the day, of course, it is about changing the world, making the world a better place. And the framework or the way to get there I have chosen for our brand is really to transform creation. And when we are talking about transforming creation, as I said, it is about transforming the planet, it is about transforming the world or making the world a better place. But also like being in the creative field, like as a fashion designer, it is also of how we are either creating products, of how we are creating fashion, of how we are creating music, philosophy, writing books. So transforming the creative process of artists or people that wants to put themselves out into the world. Because I say, when you're transforming that creative process and you kind of change your source
Mhm.
with the intention of making the world a better place, naturally speaking, the world will be a better place, because all the products that will be manifested in the world we will have that inherent value actually. So
Sure.
instead of changing the world on the surface level, I aim to help people to transform their creative process and add that higher purpose to whatever they are doing from the beginning. And this will be the this will set the foundation for everything else.
That is so beautiful. That's a part that really resonated with me because not only the theme of this podcast is leaders with a heart, meaning people that are building big businesses, but not just businesses for the sake of making money, but also businesses that are giving back, contributing, and helping those less fortunate. And that's the name, Leaders with a Heart. And that's also something that I'm working on. And that's when I heard that, I said, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly the kind of guy or person that need to be on this podcast. But as we got to chat and got to know each other a bit more, we found out there was so much in common. I said, man,
Mm,
this guy is it's almost like a brother from a different mother. So much in common, so many things, and also such an interesting life so far. So yeah, it's amazing because, and again, coming back to the part of doing good, I firmly believe that it's our responsibility as entrepreneurs to do good. Not just because doing good is the right thing to do as human being, but also because doing good is very good for business. Because people
mm,
love to do business with companies that are socially conscious, not just profit driven. Because when someone, when they do business from when they buy stuff from a company that does good, they feel good too. Because a lot of people want to do good, but most people either do not know where to go or where to start, or don't have the money to do good on their own. But if we allow them to the purchase of our products or services to do good, they
mm,
will feel they will feel empowered. We're giving them the
mhm,
opportunity to do good, and because of that, they will be not just another customer, but they will be a loyal, avid, and evangelical fans for years to come. Because
mhm,
hey, and they will become your biggest, you know, ambassadors because they love not only the product, but most importantly, they love what you stand for as a company.
mm, mm.
So,
Amen.
so that's why
Couldn't
me.
agree more.
That's why
Couldn't
me
agree more.
doing something similar. That uh, that's going to be another part of the conversation. Crowdfunding
Mm,
product, and for every unit that I will be selling, I will be donating a pair of a product. In that case, it would be I haven't finalized the exact product that we'll be giving away, but just for an example, we can use the a pair of eyeglasses to people that need them but cannot afford them.
mhm,
So in a way, it's giving them the gift of seeing, because seeing the
mhm.
world is like
Beautiful.
we cannot imagine you, me, and you, and everyone else. We take it for granted how it is to actually see.
Mm,
So yeah, it's and a goal of my podcast is not only to I see it more than just a podcast. I see it more as a building a community and a platform for ethical entrepreneurs to come together, to bring them together, to inspire them, and to share their story and their vision and mission, but also to inspire other entrepreneurs so that they can also do good. Because the more,
mhm,
I mean, as I said, it's not the government's job, at least in my opinion, to sure they are here to ensure the laws are fair and they do it properly, but it's us, the small business owners, that create the jobs that actually make the impact. And for
mhm,
me and you, we can help just one person and they go on and help another person. Before long, the entire world will be in a different position. It will be much more positive. And right
mhm,
now, positivity is one thing that this world needs more than ever before.
mm.
And good thing
Beautiful.
and helping others. So that's my ultimate vision, is to build brands and businesses and launch products that are not only beautiful, high quality, but also they're actually contributing, helping those less fortunate. You know, because
Beautiful.
it's not just about me and I mean, both me and you and everyone listening to this. We're at a stage that we're blessed now that we don't need to worry about what we're gonna eat for lunch or dinner today or where we're gonna sleep tomorrow.
Mm,
We get all that already covered because we've been blessed and also because of our decisions we made and all that. So now it's, I feel we're at a stage, at least I'm at a stage, and that's what I want to inspire other entrepreneurs to do so, to create something that matters, something that is meaningful, that also goes way beyond you and me and everyone else, also helps those that are,
mm,
are in need because we I mean, honestly, the thing I love the most is when you help someone that doesn't have anything to give you, you don't expect anything from them, the feeling you get is invaluable.
mhm, mhm,
The
mhm.
thank you see in someone's eyes, the beautiful
Yeah.
smile you see, it gives you
Mhm,
goosebumps. And as I told you, and I keep saying, I love saying this expression, is like almost like an orgasm for the soul, you know,
mhm,
and it's so true.
mhm.
So
I fully agree. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
this is
That's
something
what it's
I'm
all about.
extremely passionate, and I want to devote and focus the rest of my life to this purpose from now on.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have my full support. I love it.
thank you,
Love
and
it.
it's great that you also have the same mission. And also, you told me about your mission, and I want you to share with us what you want to do uh, with your brand, as far as contributing to those in need.
Yeah, so beyond fashion, so I mean, I'm highly passionate about fashion, and that's also where I started, and also want to establish myself in future. But beyond fashion, it's really a brand that we want to build, like also taking our brand to do different things, and also utilizing it for other causes that yeah, is in line with our brands to help people.
Mhm.
And like talking about fashion now, we have the vision in mind, like as you were sharing with the pair of glasses that you want to give away for each purchase, we want to do the same thing with shoes.
Wow.
Exactly. So our core product for now is shoes, even though we have a range of collection, but our core product is shoes. So for each shoe that is purchased, we want to give away another shoe.
Beautiful.
And at that stage, like we have thought about different countries we could do this and make this a reality, but we haven't decided yet. So if you guys have like any organization, community, like we are very open for suggestions and look at that definitely.
There's yeah, that's lovely. I love that. There's many such organization, but one thing that at least I will personally be doing, I prefer to be on the ground, make direct contact with actual. For example, in my case, it would be eyeglasses, make contacts with the local, say, eye doctors and stuff like that, and actually go
Mm-hmm,
in person, organize, for example, every quarter, whatever, after
mm-hmm,
let's say 1,000, each time that we sell 1,000 units of my product, I would go there, organize a day with the local authorities and local people,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and just organize like a big not a party, but like a big day, and just bring in, invite people, or rather allow the local authorities and local partners to take us to places that will have people actually need it, and then just give it to
mm-hmm.
the person, be there, because
Love it.
the energy you get, as I said, one of the most beautiful thing is when when you help someone that doesn't have anything to give you back, but all they have to do is just their gratitude in their eyes, and the genuineness and the smile, that
Mm-hmm.
feeds off tremendous positive energy, and I want to be there
True.
to absorb and enjoy and bathe and as much
Mm-hmm,
of that beautiful universal heavenly energy. So I want to be the
mm-hmm,
person, and that's something that if I can make a suggestion, if you could be there as well in person and do it,
mm-hmm,
not only it's gonna show to you and directly, hey, what I'm doing actually is actually making a direct impact on these people's lives, and that's gonna
mm-hmm,
be
mm-hmm,
the eternal flame that's gonna allow you to keep going, the motivation more than anything else, more than even if you were to make $1 million in sales in a
mm-hmm.
day. that's okay. That's okay. No, no, that's good, but it's not gonna be
Hmm.
something that's gonna really drive you. But when you see the thank you in these people, in the eyes of
Hmm.
these people, the energy, the positive energy, that's something that
Hmm.
honestly, it's the most
Hmm.
beautiful thing, at least where I'm concerned. And I think you would tremendously experience for that as well.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's tons of countries. I mean, that's not going to be difficult because pretty much every country in the world can use help right now.
That's true.
But you're going in person, being there, organizing,
Hmm.
for example, like shoe drops, being there in person, getting help with local partners or even local authorities, I'm sure. And on top of
Hmm.
that, that's going to be tremendous, material for marketing, for PR, to allow you
It helps.
to take your message, not just making more sales. Well, yes, you want to make more sales because the more sales you make, the bigger impact you'll be able to do because for each
Mm,
sold, you can give one away for free.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's all win-win. So I think
Hmm.
I would recommend, if you can, be there in person to shake
Hmm.
hands with the people and feed off this tremendously beautiful positive
Hmm.
energy.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe I have to clarify myself at this point. So this is actually my intention to also be there in person. So when I was talking about organizations, it wasn't necessarily organized like charities, these charities that we know that also take a lot of uh, administration fee, whatever. So
Me
it
too,
was more in the sense of like a small organization, like of local people that are like accustomed to these kind of projects that we can personally get in touch with and
Mhm.
to be there actually on site. So this is also my intention. Yeah, definitely.
And when I get to do my go on the ground and give away those eyeglasses, of course, you're more than welcome to join me and that thing. And I would love to go to your to the day that when you will be able to
Mm.
organize those shoe drops because that's the most beautiful thing because
I would love to. I would love to.
that's
Beautiful.
when you really see the fruits of all our of your hard
Hmm.
work, of my hard work, because the dollar amounts, so in a bank account, that's nice. What you can buy with that, that's nice. But the thing that really
Hmm.
touches you in a way that nothing else can touch you is, as I said, the gratitude in the eyes and the
Hmm.
energy you get from these people.
Hmm. Definitely. I couldn't agree more. Like, I mean, talking about a full bank account, at the end of the day, it's a tool, you know. We need it for life. It's not more, not less. It's a tool. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, tomorrow they can decide to pay with toilet papers as they are becoming so valuable. Like, what
yeah.
should we do? But as you
But it's,
said, but
but it's
having like happy people, seeing happy lives, this is life actually. This is not just a tool, but this enriches your soul, your spirit. It's
more
things
than
that you can't forget. Yeah,
because the money, as you said, the money is just a tool, and
exactly.
tomorrow, God forbid, something can happen. They can freeze your account. Somebody can take it, and you're
This
left.
is it.
But this, nobody can take it away from you.
It's a memory that is like brand marked into the heart, into the soul. Like the people that are receiving from you won't ever forget it, and you yourself won't ever forget it either. So
And just as I
this
mentioned,
is like true value,
just,
eternal value.
just
Yeah.
as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that it's more than just starting a business for us. It's also to the impact we give. It's also I was reading a few days ago a book from someone that said the question you have to ask yourself is how do you want to be remembered? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And if you do something like that, that's we're talking
Mm,
about legacy.
mhm,
Even when you and me are gone, the fact that we did this to these people in this town, this village,
mhm,
the
mhm.
collective memory will always remember us.
This is so
Or when
important,
they see
so
the shoe,
beautiful.
let's say the shoes that you gave to your kid 10 years ago, the people in the family, they will still talk about that. It's going to
Mhm,
be a day that will be a highlight of their lives.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
not going to be the only highlight. It's going to be probably what I aspire to be is that this will be the starting point for them to give
Exactly. Beautiful.
that believe in
Beautiful.
themselves. So it's more than just the money or anything. It's the how do you want to be remembered? What kind
Beautiful,
of legacy
beautiful.
you give? You want to live even way past me and you are gone.
hmm
You know what I mean?
hmm Beautiful.
What this will achieve. So that's I'm extremely passionate about that. See, I get goosebumps
Mm.
when I talk about that.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. And I couldn't agree more.
Awesome. Okay. So now you said you have you're planning on launching multiple products within your brand, and currently you
hmm
already have your shoes. You showed me the shoes. They're very colorful, very stylish, very unique.
I got them next to me
Oh,
if
can
you
you show us?
guys want. Yeah,
Oh,
so just give me a
wow.
second.
Sure, sure.
I also got the other products, but they're quite big, so I will just show you
Feel
the
free to
shoe.
show whatever. Show. Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
So this is actually, I mean, there's like literally a lot of thought that went into designing these shoes.
I can
Like
imagine
when you can, I don't know if you will see it, but
living
this is
status quo. I love.
so this is kind of what we stand for, right? As I was saying. So it's really about empowering people to discover their gifts, expressing them, and then making the world a better place while being uniquely them, right?
Mhm.
And when you go like here at the bottom, I don't know if you will recognize
Oh
any
yeah,
of them.
yeah,
These
the continents that you
these are
you're
our seven continents.
wow.
So the meaning behind that is actually so I have to start another way. Like these colors, like each specific color also does have a meaning, right? So you can see, you can like say that blue stands for peace, for example, red stands for wisdom. And these are like seven key things that
Mm,
our brand kind of shares, that when you merge with them, you will be able to become yourself and express yourself. And at the end of the day, you will be able to influence like the entire world, kind of. So the
wow.
seven continents, right? So this is kind of the meaning
Love.
behind that. And then on the inside of the shoe, you also
Mm.
have a,
Renew your mind, be transformed. Love that.
exactly. So it's all about transforming yourself, becoming yourself. And here at the bottom, you also have like three symbols
Okay, the snake, the skull. Okay.
and the dragon in the
Oh,
front.
what's the meaning of those three?
So basically, I think the story I shared today is like the perfect example for it, but it touches all of us. Like when you are setting yourself, when you are like taking that decision to make the world a better place, to discover yourself, you will encounter challenges,
Mm-hmm.
right? And these challenges can be very toxic at sometimes, like they can be as toxic as snakes. You will you will encounter like death, so people that are trying to kill you, kill your dream, kill your passion. So many obstacles, right? So these are represent the obstacles that we can face while transforming ourselves, but they're like consciously put at the bottom because with each step we are like walking on them. So the brand really empowers you to raise above these challenges that you have. So that's why the quote on the other side, living far above the status quo. So living far above all these things that can hinder you to actually live your dream, right? So yeah, this is kind of the design behind these shoes. So it's really a coded message behind everything.
Amazing, amazing. Love that. I have some suggestions I will make to you off the call for you for that could really help you. But wow, that's amazing. I love that. I love the touch. It's really high quality. I can see that the craftsmanship is very good. And from what you told me last time, You were able to locate an actual artisan leather worker
Mm-hmm.
in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
handcrafted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not some cheap made in China. It's actually handcrafted in Italy using
Mm-hmm.
premium leather.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
actually went in person to
Exactly.
Milano and
Exactly.
worked with them, working directly with them now. That's amazing because
Mm-hmm.
I mean it doesn't get any better than that.
True, true. And like for whoever is listening to us, like if you are also in the physical product space, like I highly recommend it to get in touch with the people that you are working with or that are working for your brand to create your products. I mean, it's a game changer for everything because like I can share like a short testimony from my side. Like when I went on my journey to create these shoes, I said to myself, I really just want to work with people that are just as passionate or interested in my purpose, in my higher purpose than I am myself.
Mhm.
And I mean, beyond being my manufacturers, at some point, they even offered me to like merge our companies actually and making
Wow.
me their CEO just
Wow.
because they're so passionate about the brand. And they told myself, hey, we are actually tired of working with other brands now that we have seen your brand, and we want just to work exclusively for you.
That's
And this was
amazing.
only possible because I was there in person and they see you, they can touch you, they feel your energy. And it's not just like pictures that you're sending or an email, but you have that like face-to-face human experience, and it makes the difference. And
Huge.
especially like I think people that are listening to us, they are leaders with a heart. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So we have that asset that we are like passionate, we have good intentions, and when we step into a room, be it with manufacturers or with other people, we can really change something. We can really add value to people. And with the right people, like we build instant report, and you can create partnerships for life. And this is pretty much how I feel about my manufacturer, which soon will be my ex-manufacturer, because we will be working in the same company basically. So
Wow.
so
That,
this is a, for me it's already a lifetime connection, and this is really what it's all about. It's not just about having running a business, making profit, but it's also working with people that you would also love to spend time with outside of business. And
that's so
you're
beautiful.
creating that environment. It's not even work anymore. I mean, it's like spending time with friends, with brothers and sisters,
Doing
and
things
you're
yourself.
talking about the brand, and it doesn't feel like a business meeting
I mean,
because it's all around changing the world. You know, like the energy you are getting every single day. These are things you can't even articulate properly, but it's like that vicious cycle of positivity, and you're just spinning up and up and up. It's amazing. It's amazing. And yeah, for me, these are lifetime connections already.
I mean, this is
Beautiful people.
beautiful. I feel like just cutting this part and sending it to every business think that should be a priority for everyone to worldwide to understand because it's not just a matter of just sending, as you said, some pictures, some videos. No, it's about doesn't matter what you sell, whether you're selling physical products or services,
Mm.
consulting. You're dealing with people. You're the business people.
People, exactly.
People business, and
Mhm.
people love to connect with people they can get along with, they can relate with, and they see as one of their own. And just the fact that you made the effort of going in person, meeting
Mhm.
them face to face, shaking their hand, talking to them as a
Exactly.
human being, and not just someone just online sending an impersonal email. And
Mhm.
no, just you did that. That's gonna set you apart like there's no tomorrow. I understand right now is not really easy to travel because of what's going in the
Mhm.
world, but once things reopen, anyone that's really serious to build a long-term business, not just to
Exactly.
go and meet in person your factory, your artisans, whoever you're working with to bring
Mm.
your product to reality. That's a must. For me, my product, I was working with some special material from Mexico and Argentina. My plan was to actually go there in person just for that exact reason that you mentioned. But
Mm-hmm,
right now I
mm-hmm.
can't. I have to wait.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So yeah, so that's amazing that you've been able to, to establish this personal connection with them, and I'm not surprised that they actually approach you to do some kind of exclusive deals with them, because that's the ultimate
Mm-hmm,
form of not only flattery but also trust. And they see your vision, they share your vision, they love your vision.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is really, as you said, you put it there so beautifully. It's really about that passion. It is about that vision. It is about meeting people, shaking hands, and share that passion. Share that passion. Because I can tell you, like, I mean, we could talk hours and hours because there's so much to that story. Because, like, I can tell you that the manufacturers I'm working with right now, they are working for actually the top luxury fashion brands. So
Mm.
when we are talking about manufacturing in Milan, these are like the very people that manufacture for Gucci, for Prada, for Louis Vuitton, for, like, I mean, you name them, you name them. And I mean, I'm a guy kind of starting out, like, who knows my brand at that point, but how can you, like, I mean, these guys have like maybe 15 years experience in that field working with these brands, and now you have like a regular dude like myself coming in, and you see it and you decide to work exclusively with that guy. I mean, that's just,
Oh
what
yeah,
should I say, it's
cool.
crazy, like, it's crazy. And this is all like, I don't see myself as the special person or whatever, like, maybe special in my own sense, as we all are special, but it's like, when you are passionate about what you do, when you have a higher purpose, when you are genuinely interested in making this world a better place, and you have good intentions, everything is possible.
All
Everything
about
is
intention.
possible.
It's all about intention. As I told you last time we talked, we can fake the words, we can even fake smiles, but the vibe,
Mhm.
intentions cannot be faked. And that's
Never,
something people
never, never.
can always, feel and sense.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
amazing. Did you tell your factory in Milano your background about your past as a professional football player, or not yet?
We talked about it, but we scratched the surface so
Okay.
far.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow, that can be. I'm sure, as I told you last time, there's many of that aspect that you can use, because in business, and you know that better than anyone, it's the connection, but also the branding, the story. That's super
Mm,
important. And you're blessed to have an amazing, tremendously rich, beautiful story. And that's honestly what, in my opinion, that's what really is probably the biggest factor I see, and you, and I can only see it being destined for greatness. That's your story, your branding, and of course your good intentions. Well, the camera's not showing, but I'm doing this. You know what I mean? Your good
yeah.
intentions, your good heart. So I can see that. But your
Thank
story
you very
is
much.
everything. Seriously, man. Wow.
Thank you. I very much appreciate it.
Mm, okay. Well, I think we can keep on going for hours and hours. It's been only been an hour and a half, 2 hours. I think we're gonna put this to an end soon, and maybe we'll do another follow up, maybe 6 months down the road, to see how your project has gone and how my project has gone, and we can compare notes. And also, that's something that a lot of people would find interesting, to see how what we have accomplished, especially you, because it's you they want to see, and also myself.
Ah.
So now we're gonna. I think. I mean, we can keep talking for hours, and we did that last time. We're supposed to talk for half an hour. We talked for 3 4 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there any last minute tips that you would give to anyone that's considering getting into their own, you know, uh, into entrepreneurship and launching their own brand of physical products or anything?
Wow, there are so many things I could say. Um, I think I will base it on my recent personal experience. Like, for whenever people will be watching this, like we are in the COVID season, like everything is locked down, businesses are falling apart and whatnot. Like it's like a very rough period for most. And during this same year, I was still able to develop such a brand. And what kept me going was like really that higher purpose, like something that went beyond circumstances. Because like as a luxury fashion brand, you don't have like relevance. Like
Mm.
when people are reduced to their basic needs, how do you still be in business as a fashion brand, because you are like a luxury commodity, right? But when you have that higher purpose, all these, I would say, general business rules don't apply to you anymore. People will buy into your vision, people will still be supporting you, people will be joining you on your cause. So, and this is what the podcast is all about, having that higher vision. And I can't emphasize it enough. So, when you're starting out in business, don't start necessarily with what, but start with why, and the how and the what and the who and to whom will fall into place.
Oh, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
put it to paper, I have to say. Put it to paper, make a conscious decision about it. Like don't just spin off several ideas in your head, but decide on a higher purpose, put it down to paper and go for it. And it will happen.
You're so right. You touch on something that is so important, so crucial, which is don't be just selling another product. Sell a product with an identity, with a reason, with a why. If you have a
Exactly.
story, you have personal relationship with your partners, with your suppliers, manufacturers,
Mhm,
and you have a cause, that's going to basically elevate your brand from not just being another brand to being
mhm.
something that makes competition completely irrelevant, because now
Exactly,
people
exactly.
are not saying, okay, well, should I spend what, $300 or euros on a pair of shoes, or should I
Mhm.
spend something else, and then or spend say $40 on a pair of shoes they can get at Walmart, for example. You know,
Exactly,
when they
exactly.
hear the story, when they see the details on the shoes that you showed me, the design, but more than the design and the colorfulness and all that,
Mhm.
but the story, the branding, and what you're doing for each pair of shoes that you're buying, you will be giving a pair to someone that needs those shoes, and that's something that a lot
Exactly.
of people will relate and love, that because it's all about empowering them to do good to the purchase of our products
Mhm.
and services. So you're
Mhm.
doing the world a beautiful service. Every entrepreneur that is doing something meaningful is doing the world a better place.
Mhm.
So kudos
Fully
for
agree.
your enlightened soul, a beautiful soul. So and I can honestly, I don't see any limit to how high you can go, because you have the right intentions, your mind is the right place, and yeah, I mean the sky is literally the limit, even beyond the sky. Seriously.
Thank you very much. So appreciated. Thank you.
Always, man. All right, so with this we'll say goodbye to this to our friend Daniel, until the next time for an update in 6 months down the road. So today's February 1st. 6 months going to be what, July 1st. July 1st, we have an appointment again.
All right.
Hopefully, with I'll be able to go in Milano or Zurich, and we'll do that live in person.
Would love to do that.
So yeah, all right, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you for
All
listening
right.
to the Leaders with a Heart. Today we had an amazing, real, true leader with a heart, Mr. Daniel Timothy Callan. Until next time, take care, brother.
Take care, brother. Thanks, guys. Take care.